All right, we're back this week to talk all things conference realignment because, my God, so much has happened. I'm glad we don't do a daily show because we'd have to course correct every single hour. This is the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. This is Chad the Mark with
Canadian Biggie.
And that's it. Where is everybody?
I don't know. They ditched us. It's like the end of summer, and they want to soak up all that goodness.
I know Mongo. I'm really disappointed because we're not going to get Mongo's News of the World today. That makes me sad.
Looks to me, from the pictures he's been sending, he's in a much better place than we are.
He is. He's definitely soaking up the sunshine on a beach somewhere in one of the Carolinas. I believe he said, Charles, we're bad friends because I don't think we listen very well.
No, because he sent me a picture, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Where are you at? And he didn't respond, and I was like, I was probably supposed to know where he was at. I'm sure he told us last week.
Yeah, we might have missed the boat on that one. But, hey, we miss you, Mongo. And I was giving him hell, like, send us a voicemail, give us a tidbit of news, because I love what he's been doing. But he was like, I think I'm just going to vacation. I was like, fair enough. I know when to shut the hell up and leave you alone. But we still got a packed show. Mr. Brown's not with us yet. His kid had a big soccer game and, freshman playing varsity. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, we're going to hear all about that hopefully in a little bit. But, we got that. We got a aspiring podcaster from Colorado. I don't know why we keep mentioning Colorado lately. Mr. Brown went out there just randomly for a Rockies game. I don't know what the hell's in the water, but we're going to talk to him later. And,
Warner's out there.
What is it?
Warner's out there.
Well, that's right. Warner's out there right now.
Why?
That altitude is no joke.
Yeah.
Is what Mr. Brown's message was to him. But I want to talk wrestling today. We had Summerslam. Jake Paul and Nate Diaz fought. We got a bunch of NFL stuff. We got some NFL docs coming out I want to definitely get to. And then, believe it or not, I actually sat down and watched the entire series Twisted Metal. So I'm going to make sure I circle back to that. But the biggest thing, and Mr. Brown's not going to miss out by not being here because, this is a college football issue. Let's not act like it's not. It's conference realignment. But before we get into conference realignment, I got to ask, how are you feeling after last week?
Good.
Do you remember last week?
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Parts of it.
I mean,
I vented. I felt better when I was done. I don't care how anyone else felt.
I was having a great time. I was just sad you left, but I understand that, you were in a place in your mind where you had to go.
Yeah.
There was no stopping you.
It was time to go. I felt better.
But I'm glad you decided not to go get anything to eat. You just stayed on the couch.
Yep.
That's a good move.
Yeah, on the way home, I remember Jake calling me a couple nights before, like 11:30, was working on the road having some beers, and I thought, not do any of that driving stuff. And
all right, so yeah, you had a good time last week. You decided not to go out and do anything. But speaking of people who decided to not go out and do anything, can we talk conference realignment, you and me?
Man, conference realignment is ruining college football because I know you're the get off your lawn guy when you say that, but what is it that made college football great over the years? It was those rivalry games that you looked forward to every year, and a lot of those are going away.
I mean, most of them.
If they haven't went away already.
I feel like most of them have gone away. The real problem, this all goes back to the Big East, right? Is that the first domino? Is that the reason why we have all this shitty conference realignment?
It is, and here's the reason that I'm glad that the ACC is going to die. The ACC started this bullcrap when they started poaching the Big East teams. Miami, Pittsburgh, Boston College. They all made those moves solely for football revenue and to expand the conference.
Right.
It killed the Big East, and those teams had to scramble to find a home. When that happened, the Big 12 had a shakeup. SEC realized they can poach the best of the best.
Oh, yeah, conference realignment's okay now, so we can go out here and get some others. I mean, we can't let the ACC do this in our backyard. Come on.
ACC is the one that started this downfall.
Yeah, and I think they're about to be on the outside looking in. But
Them and the Pac-12 are going to die. We're going to have the Big 12, Big 10,
let's just
SEC.
start and say the order of events that we know it. And like I said in the pre-roll, I'm glad that we don't do a show every day because this would have been aggravating. We at least got a chance to wait almost a week and let the dust settle because the first one was Colorado, right? Like that was the
Colorado, here lately, Colorado, the Big 12,
yeah.
And then Arizona State, Arizona applied.
Right. Well, it was first Arizona, I think. It was Colorado and Arizona, and then it was then you had the Big Ten get involved because then you had Washington and Oregon.
Well, the Big Ten already had UCLA and USC coming.
Right.
So it made sense
and
for
the
them
Big
to
12 already had Texas and Oklahoma out.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing about the realignment is that the Big Ten is really set up the best because they are coast to coast. So now on a Saturday, in fact, they got teams from California to New York. You're going to have games at noon, 3:30, 7:30. They'll have a late start game when it's a UCLA USC home game. They're going to cover your TV all Saturday long.
So the TV's perfect for them. That's great. You know, now they can't. They'll go the big noon kickoff all the way through Saturday night, right? They've been focusing on the Pac-12. Now they don't really have to.
No.
I guess this year it doesn't matter. But all right, so I do love the meme of the Big Ten looking like a penis on the map. That's nice. You got the balls or the Pac West, Northwest, and then the California schools. That's good shit. But
so. Of the three, which do you think? Obviously, the SEC is the power conference. Even look at college baseball. They've won 3 of the last 4 national titles. Going forward, which of the 3 conferences do you think is going to be set up the best? Because the Big Ten is coast to coast, but Maryland, Nebraska, Rutgers, relegate these teams.
Yeah, but you get Vanderbilt, South Carolina. They're struggling there too. And that's what I'm wondering is if that's going to happen. So just to put a bow on the movement, eventually, like we're talking about the Pac-12 schools, once those Big Ten schools got added, Arizona was like, nope, we're out too. Then Utah jumped on, and then Arizona State jumped on.
Yep.
And it was just left with Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford standing alone.
Yep.
That is not a Power 5 conference.
No.
And if you're the Pac-12,
what you wonder now is which of those schools completely get left out in the dust.
Well, I mean, so some of them have blood on their hands because do you remember before Texas and Oklahoma signed up with the SEC, there was rumors about them going to the Pac-12.
Yep.
And do you remember the reason why they didn't go? Was the Longhorn Network.
Oh, it wasn't allowed as part of the Pac-12 viewership
so
deal.
think about that. Like, how stupid are you? Like, you had a chance the Big 12 would be the dead conference.
Yes.
And instead, you decided not to do anything. You have terrible media rights.
That's what I don't get too about the Pac-12. And let's see if I kind of explain this right, how I'm thinking it. You're on the left coast. It's the tech center of the entire world, right?
Right.
Streaming, Hollywood, glitz, glamour. How are you not able to attract Texas, Oklahoma, these other schools from
the reasons you just said? They don't care about football out there.
Just not enough interest in it.
They don't. I was looking at something earlier today. I can't remember the exact numbers. You just got to trust me on this one. It was TV ratings on Super Bowls, and I was looking at the Rams-Bengals Super Bowl. So the Rams are an L.A. team, right?
And it was held in L.A.
The viewership was lower than the national average in L.A., but in Cincinnati, of course, it was much higher.
Yes.
That's all you need to know is how they view football out west, man. Like there's pockets of it, but
which is crazy because they're second to Texas in high school football as far as the kids they produce. And
yeah, well, but that's also because there's freaking 40 million people in California.
Yeah.
I mean, they might as well be their own country.
They're per capita,
Sometimes we wish they were their own country.
Yeah.
But, yeet. But the other thing with the conference realignment, so the ACC we were talking about is who started all this, Well, they got grant of rights all the way up to 2035. 2036.
And that's what kills them, because like there was this headline I was telling you guys I saw. Remember when our dream forever was ACC would take West Virginia?
Yeah, not happening.
Fit us perfectly geographically. Well, we weren't good enough for them, and then the headline said that they were interested in us. Yeah, we'd be taking like a $8 or $10 million a year pay cut to go to the ACC, and they can't renew until 5 years after the Big 12 renews their deal.
Yeah, and Florida State is throwing rocks. You know, they're pissed because they also kind of screwed up in revenue sharing. This is going to piss off your breadwinners. They did it based on performance. So like Wake Forest got a bigger cut of the pie than Florida State did because they made a conference championship last year, the year before, or whatever it was. And Florida State's like, wait a minute.
Who we built this conference?
We're generating a hell of a lot more revenue than Wake fucking Forest, you know. And so now they're wanting to get out, and all they say right now is we're just not going to be able to wait till 2035, you know. So that's what's going to happen there. But
what I wonder, what do you think? Florida State and Clemson, do they go SEC, which is really where they fit in, or do they go to the Big Ten?
I think they go to the SEC.
I do too.
And too many natural rivals. The money's there.
Yep.
And when it comes down to money, I feel like the SEC is always going to do a better job than the Big Ten at attracting those people. Like if the SEC wanted, you know, Oregon and USC and all them, they could have went and got them.
Yep.
That's not what they wanted to do. And I feel like there's a backstage like handshake between the Big Ten and the SEC. It's like, we're going to kill them all.
Yep. I think that, I'll be interested to see where UNC and Duke end up, because their football programs are almost non-existent, but they are basketball powerhouses.
Well, they're also national brands. You know, that helps.
Well, it's like Kansas would fit anywhere because of their basketball program. So you got Kansas is obviously never leaving the Big 12, but what happens to Duke and UNC when the ACC eventually collapses?
So here's another question for you. Are they ever going to turn on themselves? Are they ever going to look at some of those members of these conferences that have been there, like a Vanderbilt, like a NC State, like a Wake Forest, like a Boston College?
Well, why don't these three conferences get together and become like two mega conferences?
I think that's what's going to happen.
And if they do that, I'll give you 10 seconds. Name me the first 5 teams that get relegated out of these conferences.
Well, I think I gave you some of them.
Rutgers.
I think Rutgers.
Vandy. Nebraska's on the chopping block, believe it or not.
You think so?
Dude, they have not done anything in 15, 20 years.
The revenue, that's a big program.
They're a pathetic program.
I find that hard to believe. I think those ones that we talked about left out in the Pac-12 will definitely be on the list. And then, honestly, you know, West Virginia could be one. Iowa State could be one. I mean,
I think that West Virginia is in a precarious spot because they don't offer a big enough market for you to keep them in regardless of what their performance is.
Which is stupid because they're top 25 in viewership on television. But
it's just like how we got shunned for academics when we're going to the SEC or the ACC. If we had Pittsburgh's market, they'd have taken us in.
So who's going to be left standing? You said the ACC and the Pac-12 are both dead?
They're both dead. By 2030, you'll only have 3 conferences left, and you'll have about 52 teams between those 3 conferences.
I can't disagree with you.
I think that West Virginia will be okay. They're solidly into the Big 12. What I wonder happens is, like, Rutgers is only appealing to anybody because they're a state school of New Jersey, but they offer you nothing. So how big and important is that
market? You're
not
getting New York eyes on you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
So you get rid of them, Vanderbilt, who's a couple other in the ACC that could go nowhere. Miami will be a big player,
Syracuse
just because of their
questionable.
Name. Yeah, because if they fall off, they've been a basketball program for forever. Now Boeheim's gone. What I wonder happens from this is, we've talked this at length before. What started the Big East? They didn't do football. They were a basketball conference, and they were a power conference. Do some of these schools that get excluded because they're only basketball go back and form like UConn, UNC, Duke, just be their own basketball conference?
Never. There's too much money in football. They're going to hitch their train to that wagon no matter what.
Doesn't matter if Duke goes, 4-7.
No. Oh, has it mattered ever?
Well, no. But now we're on the chopping block. We're relegating teams
but
here.
I think, honestly, what will happen is they're going to end up becoming a minor league system for the NFL, and that's going to drive all the money, and eventually the NCAA is going to be gone. Like, it'll exist, but not like what's stopping. And maybe I'm an idiot on this, and somebody's probably like, he is a dumbass. But like, no, what's stopping them from saying, why are we listening to NCAA?
Nothing. Well, I've listened to this discussion on like Dan Patrick, Colin Cowherd, all these other ones. The NCAA is like a governing body that doesn't actually have any control.
No, even the football title right now is not a NCAA championship.
Yep.
If you're listening and you didn't know that, ESPN is the one that gives the title out. It's their television rights, their broadcast, their trophy.
Speaking of things that have rightfully died, ESPN dying is one of the happiest days of my life, because growing up, I loved watching it. But you know what happened? What killed some of our Pittsburgh, West Virginia backyard brawls was ESPN's incessant fixture on who had to be number one. You couldn't have the Rose Bowl with the Pac-10, Pac-12, Big Ten, whatever, Big 18 now, as a traditional game. It worked for years. Then you went to the BCS. That was fine. All that had to die because we needed a true number one. And then you go to a playoff and there's only allowed 4 teams, and it's the same damn 4 teams. I'm glad go bankrupt.
That BCS part was rough, but Mr. Brown's finally joined us here. I think that gives us time to maybe wrap up this segment. We're going to jump in with a guy out from Colorado, so we hope you enjoyed the interview. But before we jump into that, just a reminder, make sure you guys follow us on social media. Check out Facebook. We got a bunch of Facebook groups going on, Biggie. What all's out there?
Football is Life is growing like crazy and be up to 50,000 pretty soon.
I have a segment I'm going to do here in a little bit where I'm just going to read my 10 random declined comments of the week.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. So you guys get a little insight into what Facebook deems banned and not.
If you are a wrestling honky, just start a wrestling group. I don't know why I'm saying wrestling. Ted Turner, 90s.
You like that Southern wrestling?
Yeah.
NWA, not the one from Compton, not those, but the.
What's the dude with all the messed up head? Jack?
New Jack? He's dead, man.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So
you can't live a lifestyle like that and survive forever.
Oh, yeah, true.
But anyway, we got the world famous America's Pastime for the Love of Baseball with hundreds and hundreds of former big
472.
Yeah, so make sure you take a chance. You can go find any group by We Don't Know Sports out there, but those are the names. Go check them out. And don't forget to follow us on social media, Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you can find us. We're trying to bring you content daily.
Leave a voicemail.
Yeah, and leave us a voicemail, you cowards. We got a couple. We're going to close the show with those. But let's kick it over to Colorado and see how our boy Andrew's doing. He's an aspiring podcaster here to get advice from us. God help him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we did a little bit better than voicemail. Sometimes we get fans and listeners out there that are from all walks of life. Remember, the very first person we ever talked to was from Montana and did like goat parkour. You remember that?
Oh, good old Jackie.
Jackie Hummel.
Yep.
So we didn't go that far west, but we went out west again. And I was talking to Biggie earlier. We got this theme of Colorado going on because we got Andrew with us now. And Andrew, I don't want to butcher your last name. Say it for me.
Oh, yeah, it's Eichner.
Eichner. He's a little Eichner, whatever that means.
Yeah.
No. So welcome to the show, man. You're out in Colorado. How's life treating you today, man?
Well, it's the first time, looking outside right now, it's the first day that it hasn't rained at like 6 o'clock in probably 2 months. So it's been kind of crazy out here. It's probably the rainiest summer we have had here in Colorado that I can remember in 17 years of being here.
Here's how much of a dork I am. I know that's important because Colorado water feeds a lot of states out there. How about that for knowledge? Do you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. It's like a big water thing. Anyway, nobody cares about that. Yeah. Dude, what's on the wall back there, man? You got a Broncos jersey hanging? What is that?
Yeah, so that right there is a signed C.J. Anderson jersey that my wife got years ago. So we hung that up in our office. And then I'm going to grab this thing. So this right here, I actually got this from an auction from my from my in-laws' nonprofit fundraiser that they do for a trivia bowl.
Bob Gibson.
Oh, yep, it's a authentic Bob Gibson signed baseball.
Put that in a case, man.
Dude, I know it's on a stand up here, but thankfully nobody really comes into the office that much. So
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this segment of Where to Rob People for Sports Memorabilia. No, not really.
Right.
But no, Andrew, you've been listening to the show a little bit, and now you've been hanging out in some of the Facebook groups we got. What do you interact with the most with us? I can't remember. You tell everybody. Where do you like to interact?
Yeah, so really, I joined the America's Pastime, that Facebook group, I want to say last year. And I remember one of my first posts in the group was when, because I'm a huge Rangers fan. So, because I was born in Fort Worth, Texas. And basically, I always joke with people that, I came out of my mom's womb with a Rangers jersey on and just always been a fan of the Rangers. So I hate the Cardinals because of 2011. And yeah.
I'm a Reds fan, so I also hate the Cardinals.
Yeah. There you go. But so we've had a lot of rough years as a Rangers fan, but last year I think I made the post of Corey Seager making the All-Star team and a bunch of people coming back like he's not having a great year, yada 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 yada. I'm like, he's got the best batting average. He's got more home runs than he's already had, and he's tracking to get more home runs than he's had in any season in LA. He's getting on base more. He's walking more. He's striking out less. What do you mean he's not as good as he was in LA? So, I'd say that the Facebook group is probably where I interact the most. And then just listening to, switching up the podcast and stuff, either on my way to or on the way back from work and everything. So, yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate it. And, Mr. Brown here does a fantastic job running that baseball group. And we didn't do an autograph giveaway this evening, did we?
I haven't announced it. I'm going to probably do it tomorrow or maybe Saturday. We'll have to see.
Okay. So just a reminder for everybody out there, you can always get some, not quite Bob Gibson level for free. We're not that rich here yet, but, I don't know. We might post Andrew's address.
Several former All-Stars.
Yeah. Yes. It's still, any autograph from a big leaguer is a special autograph. So anyway, so I got to ask, since he's a Rangers fan, and I'm asking you too, Mr. Brown, how important, I don't think managers are that important still in baseball. Everything's all analytical now, but clearly in the case of the Rangers' rise this year, and if they end up winning a pennant at least, or maybe even more, do we have to talk about Mr. Bochy a little differently?
So I want to talk real quick because as soon as the Rangers hired Bruce Bochy this offseason, I told them, I said, listen,
he did.
You don't understand how big of a deal this is. I said, because they got Semien, they got Seager last year. And at the time they had just signed DeGrom, which we know he's great when he's healthy. But I was like, Bruce Bochy immediately adds credibility to that franchise. When he walks into a locker room with his resume, he demands respect on the spot.
To be fair, we all kind of said the same thing about Tony La Russa too, and that was a mistake.
I don't know about that.
But we did acknowledge the age.
I didn't like that fit, though.
It was odd.
Here's the thing about La Russa and the White Sox and Bochy and the Rangers. Look at the White Sox this year versus where they were at over the years.
That's true.
Were all those other years a fluke, and is this the true team this year? I mean, you got Eloy Jimenez, who's probably the most solid player on their team. Tim Anderson has one home run in the last 17 months. They're all falling apart. I don't necessarily know if that's a Tony La Russa issue or if it's a team built around him. Because if you take a look at the Rangers, from my experience of following them from when we were in the World Series in 2011 through all the painful years of up until now, one of the things too was I give a lot of flack of our horrible seasons and blame John Daniels for that. Because I just, some of the moves he made as the GM and as the president of operations, they didn't make sense. And then you look at, bringing in Chris Young, John Daniels brought in Chris Young as the GM. Then John Daniels steps down and Chris Young takes over both those roles again. But Chris Young's got 2 full years now in the GM role at Texas, and look where we're at now. One of the first trades he did, which as a Rangers fan, and I think a lot of other Rangers fans, and my grandma, she was a Rangers fan her whole life. And whenever they'd trade her favorite players or whatever, she'd be so heartbroken about it and not understand it, obviously. But
the game's changed, Grandma.
Right, exactly. But at the same token, it's like what was it, last year or 2 years ago, the Rangers traded Joey Gallo to the Yankees. And of course, we're all just like, fuck, like he went to the Yankees. We just traded away our best outfielder, but look what we got in return for it. Glenn Otto and Ezekiel Duran.
I wouldn't have been that upset about Gallo.
And then but like now it's hindsight's 2020 of like, actually that worked out great for us. Like that was a great trade on Chris Young's part. And then, you take all those years with John Daniels as the GM and look at the trade deadlines that they did, like that we had. And then look at this past trade deadline with Chris Young, like knowing where we're at. And he goes out and trades one player. Okay. Yeah. It's Ronald Acuña's younger brother who is the top prospect in our system, but he just traded one player for Max Scherzer and $35 million in cash.
Yeah, he's been waiting to get this off his chest for a while, hadn't he? Yeah. He's feeling good about the direction of the Rangers.
Yeah. I mean, you should be. And then on top of that, I think your biggest thing is Montgomery, man. I mean, I think he's going to have better stats down the stretch than Scherzer. Just my opinion.
Right. No, and I agree. I mean, Montgomery's younger. The only and like I've been already thinking about it. It's like, okay, what do we need to do this season to convince Montgomery to sign a deal with us next year? Because could you imagine that starting rotation next year at one point? You have DeGrom, Scherzer, Evaldi, Montgomery, and John Gray as your fifth. Like
that's solid, bro. I'm telling you, that's the best rotation in the AL for sure.
I do say I want to at least give my appreciativeness out there to all Rangers fans because I do have certain outfielder on my fantasy team. It has been like a top 5 player all year, so that is nice. Out of your players this year, who's your favorite on the roster? Who do you like right now?
Honestly, it's a toss up between Semien and Seager. Okay. For myself,
and Simeon's had a hell of a year too, hasn't he?
Huge bounce back.
It's a consistent year, honestly, and I think this is it's the year that everybody was expecting him to have last year. Without him, because of what he did in Toronto, in 1 year in Toronto, going and doing all he did, people were like, "Oh my God, Marcus Semien's like great for his age. Like he's going to go to Texas and immediately do that." But it's like that's 2 different teams in 3 years. Like that's going to take a transition phase. But I mean, to that point too that you were making, Greg, of Bruce Bochy, and there it has to be something said for managers. And I was actually thinking and talking to my wife about this last night because her family's originally from Arizona, so they're diehard Arizona Diamondbacks fans.
Really? Those exist?
Yeah. So imagine that. You have a Diamondbacks family and a Rangers fan living in Colorado that both spurned the Rockies because they don't know how to run a baseball team. But
throwing some shade on the locals, but I get it.
But
so real quick. Yeah. So I did come to Coors this past last month for the first time, and I love Denver. It was amazing. I'll be back, but you're right. I was at the game where the Angels beat them 25-1.
Yeah. Oh, you were at that game.
Yeah.
He picks the winners.
Yeah, you picked the game to go to where there was a lot of offense. But take the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. For instance, when we're talking about managers. You have Torey Lovullo, who's been in Arizona for 4 years now, maybe more. And they finally get to this point where they're, leading the division. They're doing well. They're looking like they're going to make the playoffs and make a deep run in the playoffs. And then since the trade deadline, they still haven't won a game. Whereas you take the Rangers, they had the same start to the season, probably a little bit better, but a relatively same start. They go into the trade deadline. Obviously, they made bigger trade deadline moves. But then you take Bruce Bochy and, okay, they just lost their first game last night since the trade deadline. So it's like, at what point is it the manager in the clubhouse, telling the guys how to, actually treat their bodies and really work and stuff, and like that experience of winning 3 World Series in San Francisco, one of which was against the Rangers. But we're not going to talk about that. But like just the pedigree of Bruce Bochy with that team versus, Torey Lovullo, it's like, is Torey Lovullo the right manager for the Diamondbacks?
So would you guys say Bochy is maybe the best manager of this generation?
That's hard to say.
All right.
I mean,
yeah, that's hard to say.
Jury's still out, right?
Here's what I was going to say though. Like the comparisons between the Rangers and the Astros, which is going to be a dogfight down to the last guy.
Oh, it is.
So the comparisons are crazy. Clearly, they're both in Texas. Their stadiums are kind of similar. Both of their managers are former Giants managers. You got Dusty
On the stadium,
and
by the
Brochy.
way, that pissed me off.
Go ahead, let's hear it.
When I saw the layout of the new Rangers ballpark, okay, so growing up, I'd go to the old Rangers ballpark and 98 degrees, humidity, open roof, like you're dying of heat exhaustion going to a game. They say they're going to build a new stadium with dome, 75-degree controlled temp. It's great. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful stadium. But if you look out left field, there's the big glass structure out there with the columns. Tell me that does not look like Houston's columns in left field with the windows in the back.
Yeah. Be more original, right? I got it.
But no, keep going.
I was going to ask him just how do you feel like this is going to shake out between the Rangers and the Astros? And we actually have at the very end of the show when we play our voicemails, we have a Mariners season ticket holder that chimed in, and he was saying the Rangers and Astros are both overrated. But anyway,
all right. So before he jumps in, you have as of this afternoon, I don't know if anybody's played today yet because I've been at soccer, but the Rangers are 2 games up on the Astros. The Mariners are 5.5 back. So it's really a 2-dog race, but the Mariners they're playing really good ball. But to me, the best meme I saw out there when Scherzer went to the Rangers and Verlander went to the Astros was on the Dark Knight when the Joker's like, we're having tryouts. There's only open for one. And he breaks the pull stick. And that's where the Rangers and the Astros are right now. They're going to fight to see who's that one.
Right, exactly. And, for me, it was kind of like, it's always funny, too, like when you see it, like listening to like the Flippin' Bats podcast, they brought this up. But, Mets fans are probably looking at themselves in the mirrors like, what happened to our team? At one point, we had DeGrom and Scherzer. At one point, we had Scherzer and Verlander. Now DeGrom and Scherzer are on the Rangers, and Verlander's back in Houston.
Well, it shows you can't just throw a roster together. Like you can't just spend money and expect it to work. And again,
I would counter argue that and say, look at the Dodgers.
Yeah, but how much of their stuff's homegrown?
They have a lot of homegrown there too. Like they're really good at developing pitchers.
Well, yeah, they are really good at developing pitchers, but when it comes to position players.
I'm not saying they're not spending money. I'm just saying that, they have a good balance.
I think the Dodgers are actually down compared to what they normally are because I feel like they're waiting for that Shohei sweepstakes. So they're not as high as the Mets are normally right now.
Yeah, I could see that. But I don't know. That whole Shohei sweepstakes is going to be a whole nother conversation.
I'll ask you about that real quick, but just I want to know, it's a 2.5 game lead right now for the Rangers. How's it going to finish? Deep thoughts.
When do they play the Astros?
He's getting real
September.
He's got to get into the deets.
I think it's in September is the next series.
This is no quasi prediction. This is a well-educated man making sure he's representing his fan base proudly here.
When is the last time a September series has meant this much for a Rangers fan?
2011.
Yeah.
2011. Actually, probably 2012 when we got swept by the Giants. But
yeah.
I can't remember years. It's been a long time.
4th through the 6th. So let's see. If our pitching stays healthy, I think we win the division.
All right. So
if Evaldi comes back from the IL and dominates like he was, I think we win the division.
How many games?
2 games.
2 games.
And hey, is Jung out for the year?
It's up in the air. From what I've been reading and seeing, he had surgery. He's going to still hang around the clubhouse and stuff and be around the team and everything else after surgery. And then he's hoping to make it back before the end of the regular season because they said he's supposed to be out 6 weeks, which would put him right near the end of the regular season, right into postseason. So if he doesn't come back in the regular season, he'll at least be there for the postseason.
So you can relate to me on this perspective. So this year's All-Star game was essentially the Braves versus the Rangers. How did that make you feel?
Honestly, I watched the live, All-Star game, roster reveal, and it was just honestly, I was kind of dumbfounded.
It had to
Like,
be
I knew
surreal
we
for
were
you.
doing well.
Yeah.
Like, it was surreal. And I think it was surreal for every Rangers fan because it's like, I mean, with our win 2 days ago against Oakland, we just tied the total wins we had last year.
And here's the thing,
have
too.
2 months of the season left.
A lot of people get pissed about the All-Star game voting because it's the fans, but when you look at every single Ranger that's got the start, I mean, they all had great stats. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a player you could have made an argument for that could have started
but
above.
they were mostly
100%.
But none of those players were like, oh, they don't deserve to be there. Because if they weren't starting, they were at least going to be named an All-Star, even if they weren't a starter.
They were going to play.
So, I mean,
right, exactly.
You can't get mad about it because they were going to be there whether they started or not.
Man, I love the optimism, man. I like Texas Ranger baseball really has been kind of just irrelevant for the past decade. And like, I know what that feels like being a Reds fan. It sucks. So I'm happy for you. But I got to ask a couple other questions because we only have so much time. And, you know, we got to see the memorabilia there a little bit. Even though he hates the Cardinals, he has a nice Bob Gibson autograph. We'll let that slide because he's good.
He's one of the greatest pitchers in the world, like ever. So I'll take it.
So
arguably the best.
You talked about the CJ Anderson jersey there. You know, we had a fantasy football draft we did one year, and we created a false rumor that he was hurt and was out for the year during a preseason game, and he slid to like the 11th round. Do you remember that?
I do.
That was insane.
And no one would touch him, and he was completely healthy.
Yeah, and one person who wasn't drunk decided to Google it and was like, "Oh, that son of a bitch is spreading lies."
Yeah. Fuckers.
So are you a Broncos fan or who is your squad?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, before I got married and before I really met my wife and started dating, I really did not like the NFL. I was always more of a college guy.
Yeah, but that sucks now, man. We just talked about that before we interviewed you. Conference realignment, the NIL, the transfer, it's ruined college football.
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. It's questionable now that my Ducks are going to the Big Ten. But
your Ducks, I was gonna say I see the LSU Tigers hoodie, man.
Oh, and LSU. It's convoluted. My wife gives me a whole lot of crap, but my dad's two favorite teams were LSU and Oregon.
You can't have more than one favorite team, Andrew.
Pacific.
You can't do that.
I can, and I have reasons for all of them.
All right, so if you had to rank your college teams, who's first, LSU or Oregon?
Depends on if they're playing each other and if
they're playing each other for the national title, who you picking? See that then now you got to pick one.
Probably this. If it was this year, probably Oregon, since LSU had the best team in college football in 2019.
Go Tigers!
But then if Oregon wins it, then the next year it's let's go LSU.
That was such a bullshit non-answer.
It was.
That was terrible. That was terrible.
I know how to sit on a fence and bullshit my way around an answer to give the answer that I need to give to
sitting on
a
pointed fence post is what he's doing.
Both.
That's terrible.
But no, I will say though that now that I have become an NFL fan, I am more of a Broncos fan now. I have adopted them as my NFL team, and we get season tick. We buy some tickets from a family friend of ours that has season tickets, and so we sit right at the end zone, right underneath the giant scoreboard. So got to go to a couple games. Actually,
I bet Denver's a good time. Yeah. I bet Denver is a good football environment.
Yeah, that stadium it's rocking. My watch tells me I'm like at the loud environment, sitting in the stands from people cheering. Like it's great.
Mine does that too when I'm in the car singing, but I think it's just like, shut up, Chad. You're terrible.
Right.
But it does.
I bet.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. I'll go ahead and tell you, but I'm a Raiders fan, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Did you see Derek Carr's picture today?
I don't care.
Did you see that?
Wait, what?
Derek Carr's like, he's eating horse steroids or something. Oh, boy's jacked. It ain't going to help him throw a football any better, but he's jacked.
It's that gumbo, man. It's that gumbo.
No,
Would you rather have Derek Carr or injury-prone Garoppolo?
Oh, I want Derek Carr all day.
Corporate says it's the same picture.
Yeah. He eating that gumbo and Nolan.
What's the difference between these two pictures? Corporate says it's the same picture.
Exactly.
Only one gets hurt and the other one doesn't.
That's it. But one has the
right.
Let's be honest. Neither one is going to lead you to a Super Bowl, so I really don't care.
No, but I would totally watch Jimmy Garoppolo on quarterback just to see his personal life. That would be amazing.
Right.
That'd be good shit.
That'd be crazy.
The power of porn.
That's it. So we gotta wrap up here. We got another, I don't know, half, 3/4. I don't know. We got more shit to talk about off the interview here, but you know, you told me you were an aspiring podcaster, Mr. Brown. You got any advice you would give Andrew on how to harness the masses? I mean, you've developed quite a following with the baseball group we were talking about. So what advice would you give Andrew?
Yeah. I mean, for the growth, you got to stay consistent. You can't get discouraged if things don't go your way for a little while. Just keep plugging. For me, believe it or not, my biggest thing when we started this a few years back was I was terrified of public speaking. And through this podcast and other things, I don't care. And I don't have the best radio voice like Chad does, but I figured out a way to make it better, make sure I'm enunciating and all that good thing. But you just got to, if you're passionate and you're consistent, I think it works out, to be honest.
Any advice about Facebook, Joe?
Oh, Facebook, Joe. Yeah. So
don't be racist. Don't be overly perverted.
No, it's more complicated than that.
Do not talk about Jeffrey Dahmer at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes. They don't like that.
That'll do it.
They got me in jail 11 months later for a Jeffrey Dahmer joke because
the following Thanksgiving.
After the Netflix came out, it was the following year when they junked me on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will say this, I may be a little intimidated when my father-in-law do start this podcast together and we get everything set up. Not because I don't, not because, it's public speaking or recording myself and putting it out there for the world to hear, but my father-in-law is a professional PA announcer. He does like indoor volleyball and stuff, and he got to cross off one of the bucket list items of doing the men's and women's indoor volleyball at the Tokyo Olympics.
Nice.
So he's got that lovely announcer's voice, and I'm just sitting.
Why didn't we get him on the show?
Regular accountant.
He would have been a better guest. Why didn't we get him? I'm just kidding.
Right.
Hey, do you know who Bob Picozzi is?
I can't say I've heard the name.
He worked for ESPN for like 20 years, but he used to be like the update guy for Mike in the morning. You would talk about radio voices. To me, he had to be anybody we ever talked to. He would come on and talk March Madness with us. That dude's voice is just, I don't know.
You could tell.
Yeah, you could tell that was his moneymaker,
Right. Yeah, so I got to do vocal exercises to lower the voice type.
So what are you going to try to steer? What are you going to steer your podcast to? What are you going to try to? You going to make it more niche? You're going to be more broad?
Yeah, so I think what we had talked about was kind of, not necessarily focusing on one specific sport per se, kind of, rotating it out, in the summers, obviously baseball is kind of going on. So we'll talk about that, kind of talk about high level things, but obviously during the summer, you got NBA and NFL updates, like new player signing, you got the NFL draft, stuff like that. And then, so we'll probably mix and match it throughout the seasons based on what sport is kind of, going on and bringing in like any big updates that we see and talk about that. But then, he's also got some connections to some collegiate coaches and collegiate admin for collegiate sports. So we'll probably kind of talk about local college athletics or even national college athletics as well, and kind of get some of those guests on as well that he has those connections to. So yeah,
it sounds like competition for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's cut this segment right now.
Yeah, sorry, you're fired from it. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, hey, if you get started, man, we'll give you some love. We'll come on. We'll be guests if you need some guests, and we'll share your stuff out. We love being reciprocal here, but
I have nothing else. We got a damn good background,
That's right.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I played NBA Jam earlier, and I beat Mark Price and Brad Daugherty on the Cavs by 1 point. It was a buzzer beater, 0.3 seconds.
You played big or the
No, I was playing the computer, so it was tough.
Hey, so you look younger, so do you remember our NBA Jam?
Oh, yeah. The old arcades with like the NBA Jam. I can't even remember.
That's what that is.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
So who would your squad be? Who did you like to play with?
So I will say this. I didn't really play NBA Jam all that often, but, I got really into, was it on the PlayStation 2? I want to say what was that MLB game where, if you beamed the pitcher or the batter enough, the batter would actually charge the mound.
Is that triple play baseball? Is that what that was?
I don't have no clue.
I can't remember, but it was like baseball on steroids with hockey fighting.
Nice.
It's like that's
awesome.
when every platform was making like NFL The Blitz.
Yeah.
You had like NFL Street. You probably had like MLB minor league drunk bar fight or something. I don't know.
Right. All the underground like fighting games turned into, modern sports.
Right. I remember an episode of South Park, Colorado reference, where they were playing the new Tiger Woods game, and it was right after he had his incident with his wife. So the game was like running from her while she was, "You motherfucker," and trying to beat him with a golf club. He's just driving away.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a fun game. But anyway, Andrew, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah.
As always, any fan, any listener out there that's interacting with us, man, come on. We'll talk to anybody out there. But we always love the perspective. And for a Rangers fan living in Colorado, damn, he knew his shit. He was ready to talk about the Rangers, man. He had a lot to say. And
I mean, he should have a lot to say. This is a good time for Rangers.
Yeah, he's like, now is the time for me to go out and do a podcast.
And last plug, I mean, Brown's got a lot to say too, being a Braves fan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, don't rub it in. We get it.
As Chad says, don't get me started.
Yeah. It's a whole other show. So. But anyway, Andrew, thanks for coming on, brother. We'll see you down the road.
Of course. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right. So since we just got done talking with somebody that follows us on social media. I don't know if it's as bad in the other groups, but man, the football group we have, it's been out of hand a little bit lately. Like it's been growing like crazy, but have you seen some of the comments and things that are popping up now?
It is so raunchy, I can't even keep up.
Well, I'm going to help you keep up. Is that okay?
All right, yeah.
I'm going to share.
You got like David Letterman top 10 here or what?
I hate to give it justice and say top 10 because out of the 482 that just happened today, I couldn't go through all those, nor would I want to. I don't have the mental acuity to deal with all that. Yeah. So anyway, just for those who complain, because they think we take their comments down. Yeah. They think we're like wielding the sword of like, no, we don't approve of this or that. The only thing we take down is if somebody puts anything political or anything racist. Pretty much it.
Right. It ain't like we're headhunting. It's usually either Facebook flagged it or someone reported it and then we rule on it.
Yeah. I mean,
we're not going and looking for it.
And we challenge probably 90%, not really, but we challenge some and say like, this is stupid.
Let's just be honest. We really don't care what you say unless it negatively affects us. And then we have to deal with it.
So just to prove we don't care, I'm going to read 10 of my favorites I picked out today. Is that fair?
All right. This is from 10 to 1.
Should I say the names? Should we put some heat on them?
Yes.
I'll give you first names.
All right, that's fine. Yeah.
Dustin says, STFU ... You sound like a BCH. They banned that. Didn't even say the word bitch.
Wow. That's reaching.
Shannon says, if you don't want to get hit, play basketball, pussy.
I like that.
That got banned.
That's a good take.
Dylan said, kids need their asses beat, bud, or they'll end up like me.
Wow. Wow.
These are fun out of context. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, quite of a turn of events there.
I think that last one, that's like him reaching for help.
I need to get the
Has anyone checked on him lately?
That's not my job.
Okay.
All right, reading glasses out for this one because it's a little longer. Well, Steven replied to Bill and said, but way to self-admit being mentally ill coward who wastes police time. Your inbred cousin fucking cops can't do shit. You have no evidence of who I am or where I live, you fat waste of skin.
That's great. Hell yeah.
But wait, there's more. William responded to somebody saying, oh, but you, I can't even read these sometimes. Oh, but you forget he put for and get. That's why I'm confused.
Yeah.
He meant the word forget. But you forget Mahomes did in fact have an injury on the quote unquote slippery field. Piss poor planning by the Eagles. They did play on the same field. So all your what ifs and any other BS is void and invalid. Suck it easy, you sniveling bitch. He was good until the end. Like, you had to get that last dig in there.
Like, this is all analytical, and then all of a sudden he just went,
like,
suck it.
Break it down.
How do we get from when we walked down the hallways in middle school telling everyone, suck it, to you can't say sniveling bitch?
I mean, that's it. Bitch is very, very bad word on Facebook. Very, very bad.
But I would also like to point out that probably 80% of these people saying these comments have probably never called a person a bitch in person.
No, they probably haven't. Never a dull moment. I lost my place. All right, I got Bill replying to Steven. I love it when they tag people. I don't even want to read this one.
Read it.
I want to enjoy fucking your mom. You threatened the wrong guy. Answer your phone or the cops get your threat to kill me. Bring it, bitch. What is wrong with people? Why is our Facebook football group where people want to get out these hostilities?
I would guess that guy probably has called somebody a bitch before. He's in the 20%.
What I want to hear is next time the new serial killer is announced in America, can we tie it back to this guy?
That's true.
Yes.
You don't know who I am. You don't know where
That's
I
why
am.
we're
Send
putting
the
this
cops
on.
my way.
This is a matter of public
We're
record.
putting this on record today.
Another one, I saw this guy a lot in here. Jason responding to Joby. Have all those cheeseburgers gone to your head, fat boy? Crying emoji face. You're comparing seasons 3 years apart and using that as an argument first means beat what the WTF are you looking at? Tubby Hurts wasn't first in anything last year. Goofy, you definitely don't know what TF you're talking about, crying emoji. And we weren't talking about field passing fat Chuck. We were talking about the two QBs rushing. So you bringing up passing is irrelevant. Doesn't effing matter if Hurts was winning. Is he was as good as you are ass kissing 2 games out of 17? I can't go on. This is nonsense.
Clearly, he's on his way for that novel.
He was doing God's work there.
He don't even need an editor. Clearly.
All right, how about Charles responding to Sean? Calm down, fat boy. We don't accept losers here.
It's
He's correct, we
Facebook.
don't.
No, I mean he was just speaking for us.
Yeah.
That wasn't that bad. Come on, Facebook.
There's nothing wrong with that one.
You call somebody a loser, I guess that's as bad as I don't.
Before you go on,
I only got one left.
all right, go ahead.
Old Blake responded to Dave, yep, 27 years and counting. Only one trophy for you and your fugly wife. You had to bring the missive. So they get so hostile, they have to go scrub the other person's profile for like ammunition.
They go digging. The people put it out there to grab.
I mean, that's what happens.
There's 2 views on this. One, when you put your whole life on social media, be ready for people to use it to attack you. 2, I really wish that we could selectively go through and come up with a, instead of a celebrity death match, it's a football is life death match where we find a couple of these guys that talk shit to each other and we get to put them in a ring.
Well, that's kind of why I'm calling them out, is I'm hoping it breeds to, some more entertainment value down the road. But,
it is crazy. Mike Tyson said it best, or at least this quote's attributed to him. Social media has made people too comfortable with talking shit and not getting punched in the mouth.
that is good.
He waits till the end.
That's us coming back from a sound check after me not getting anything to work right, and then I'm counting backwards from 5, and Biggie just slams his phone down in anger.
Unintentional.
Usually, though, he always does something right at the buzzer.
It is.
Yeah, and
And
that's
it's-
when I looked over at you guys. You were looking at me like that, and I thought to myself, yeah, I get it. Usually I am that guy. That was unintentional. I was trying to set my phone up to look at the show notes so I could follow along.
Well, listen, Biggie, when you start, you get a reputation, man. That's what we come for.
That is Biggie. That is what he does.
You establish this reputation.
I can't remember what we were talking about. We were complaining about Facebook, and I was reading off comments, and I did want to get in.
No, what I was trying to say, if I didn't get to it, was that I think we need this fight between Zuckerberg and
Musk.
yes, because I'm so sick of Facebook being so shitty and so pussified.
You want
that-
Elon to take it over.
I mean, I need someone other than Zuckerberg because he's a straight up pussy. I don't care if he's a lizard man and he's got jujitsu training.
His style.
Someone needs to put an end to it.
My style is stronger than your style.
I'm telling you.
He is a robot.
So we've got to do something, whether it's him or Elon Musk or one of us, the people, U.S. citizens, takes down Facebook.
wasn't even originally his idea. He stole it from college.
That's what they said in the movie.
And you know why he was able to get it and run with it?
Because he's
They gave him the money because they don't have to try to do anything now because
you look like 10 years ago. Let's update your page.
And I'm pissed off because we got 105,000 followers on Facebook, and that piece of shit lizard man is trying to hold back on our reach. So fuck him.
It is bad.
Fuck him.
Yeah. Elon.
Go back 40,000
You go.
They shut you down for being too good.
No, you go into our profile. It's like last violation was 9-10 months ago.
Yeah.
So are we just on a permanent ban for life?
It says until March.
Of what?
It doesn't-
2024?
Well, that part's conveniently left out. It just says March. I feel like March done came and gone.
I would feel bad for the folks out there that use Facebook as a platform for their means of survival.
Like their livelihood.
Luckily, we do this as a hobby, and then whatever we get from this, it's a bonus.
Well, you know what it is. Like, our audience is that Facebook user, man. Like, that's our age. We're in our 40s. That's who listens.
Like, could you imagine, though, trying to make a living with this bullshit where it's just something we do for fun and we make extra, we make it, but...
Like, what if you're like a local landscaper and all of a sudden, like, you can't be seen anymore? Sorry. So every time someone searches, you're not getting shown.
So here's what I want to do, because here's what happened. Black Adam Schefter, White Jalen Rose.
That's the same place.
Yeah.
All these other ones, they got together and conspired against us.
Well,
we're the outsider. We got to shut these guys down.
What's the next one now? Like Mexican Tony Romo?
I like that. Can we just do a segment of making up those?
Yeah.
The opposites.
Let's go and make the page Mexican Tony Romo.
There's a white Stephen A. Smith, the black Adam Schefter. Can we get a transgender Aaron Andrews? Would that be one? Is that?
I'm just saying, like, I think if we made a Mexican Tony Romo page, we'd probably blow up.
Maybe
we would pretend like they're a black Adam Schefter.
We could start a new page. Yeah. Maybe that's the play.
Yeah. Let's keep them both.
We're here for Mexican Tony Romo.
Yeah.
He's in the Corona commercials.
That's what I'm saying.
Put two and two together. Yeah. Yes. You're so smart.
Thanks, buddy.
God, I love you.
I know.
So good.
I know. Oh, it's so good.
He's the oil that makes the engine lubricate.
No, I'm the straw that stirs the drink.
That's it. All right, Biggie, you still want to talk baseball?
I would love to.
So what is it that you got to get off your chest so bad?
All right. I am deeply bothered by Peter Angelos, the owner of the Baltimore Orioles. So you're winning this year. Good chance that you can win the division. Your play-by-play announcer who's been with the team for quite a while.
Dude, I forgot. I thought this was a joke. I didn't know this was a real story.
Well, that's what makes me mad. When I first saw it, I thought it was just a ha-ha, gosh, you click on the link. It bothers me because in today's world, he said nothing wrong. All he did was give you facts, but for some reason,
he was just talking about how the Rays had owned the Orioles.
Yeah, he's talking about the last 2 years against the Rays and how they've already won more games this year than the last 2 years combined. All he did was tell you, we're having a really good year this year, which is evident. We've done better against a team that's been consistent in this division this year than we have in the last 2 years. He used no cuss words, no profanity, didn't insinuate anything, gave you straight facts. And for that, the owner suspended him for, what was it, 3 games? You had play-by-play guys across the country. I can send you videos. I sent you the one coming out in his defense. How soft are you as a fucking human being?
Yes.
That the guy that you employ, who is loved by all your players and your fans, gives simple stats about you haven't been as good the last couple of years as you have been this year.
No lies. No lies.
You suspend him?
It was just stats. Did you see it?
I did. I mean, he didn't say nothing wrong at all. I don't know. I feel like even today, the Baltimore Orioles are they're overperforming.
Overachieving.
Yeah, they are. So, I mean.
But like, why punish this guy?
There's no reason to.
What an ego.
I agree. Like, as an owner, that's what you're like with the Orioles rolling the way they are. They're leading the AL East. And you're, as an owner, is going to come in and be like, I'm going to be a dickhead and try to be a cancer.
For no reason.
I mean, that's really what just happened because everything's well oiled, it seems like. And you have like.
I thought it was a joke. I didn't think he really got suspended. I thought somebody was like making a joke because they were so bad against the Rays that it was like, yeah, they're going to suspend him for saying
you
this.
See the headline, and what you think is, I think it was the Oakland A's announcer or maybe Royals A's. Made reference to where they went, talked like he was living 100 years ago about where it was. and was suspended, then fired. Things like that are fireable offenses. Giving facts about we're having a better year than we've had in a long time. How can you be that soft, that into yourself, that like, what is it? Don't talk about the past. Let's just live in the right now. That really, really bothered me. I don't know why, but I wanted to get off my chest.
It bothers me the fact that like the Orioles are the best team in AL.
Live off of that.
And their owner, all he has to do is sit there and keep his mouth shut because everything else is running great. Like if you have an issue with it, go talk to the guy. You don't just like, oh, you know, you're suspended.
Like that is like the ultimate power play, just like an asshole boss. You know what I mean?
Like to me though, you're the talk of the AL. And you want to put this in the news?
You know, whoever doesn't like the Braves, you should go to work tomorrow and make them clean the toilets.
I might.
Just get inspired by this guy.
I might.
That's what I'm going to do.
To me, this was one of those moves where you're the guy who has all the power, and somebody didn't do something that they didn't know they were supposed to do.
What an ass.
So you decided to punish them.
Like
Well, see, Big Perm and Zach Porta, they're both Reds fans. So which one do you want me to have clean the toilets tomorrow?
Double team.
Double team.
That's right. Sorry, fellas. Didn't mean to throw you under the bus.
There you go.
All right. I want to talk. I want to talk some NFL. Can we go there?
Yeah.
I feel like we've got enough baseball. God love the Texas Rangers. Let's talk about some other shit. Big E's like Mr. True Crime, loves documentaries and things like that. Man, the Johnny Manziel documentary's dropped, hasn't it?
It has. I'm going to watch it this weekend.
I haven't watched it yet, but like, you're interested in it?
Oh, damn sure.
What about you, Mr. Brown?
I mean,
Kind of mixed.
I'll probably watch it.
You're not in a
once
hurry?
baseball season's over.
Okay, no hurry. It's January. I think I'll watch. I'm not going to watch the Insight.com bowl.
So, like, don't
Watch
talk
this.
to me about it until like baseball season's over.
So it's already making the rounds, and I just wanted to share one thing.
Great story though.
That he's got the Jamarcus Russell thing about how he didn't watch tape. They asked him how much film he watched while he was at Cleveland, and his answer was 0.
Yep. Dude, his rookie minicamp camp, so this be June, sometime in June in Cleveland, he got so messed up just doing his thing, he didn't show up. Like, you would think that as a rookie in minicamp and training camp, especially as a first-round pick and a quarterback, you'd be coming in trying to make your presence felt.
When you say doing your thing, you mean coke?
Yeah. Driving that train.
High on cocaine. Johnny Manziel better watch your speed. He's like Jamarcus, man. Instead of purple drink, it's cocaine.
Yep.
It's a hell of a drug.
See, the thing
I
about
like his style better. Right off that hooker's ass crack.
thing about Manziel,
Bravo.
and the reason that I'd like to watch this, what he reminds me of is, whether it's college or not, everyone went to high school, had the kid in high school who was a good athlete, but his parents were loaded, right? So he didn't have to work for anything. Most things were probably handed to him, and he was a good athlete, and everybody liked him. All of a sudden, you get into the real world, and life changes for him. And that's what happened with him, because his parents had all this Texas oil money. He ends up at A&M. He's Johnny Football. He goes to the NFL. He don't give a crap. I just want to party.
No, yeah, the problem was he's always been the best everywhere he's been, and now you're there with actual players that's way better than you, and he's just like, that's too much work.
Yeah, these guys are putting work in. You know,
What's this crap about?
Mongo's not here, but both he and I watched that quarterback series on Netflix, and like that's the thing that stood out. Like, just Mariota was on there, but then you had Kirk Cousins and Mahomes, and you're just like, my God, the amount of work they put in is ungodly. So then you hear like Johnny Manziel. All it makes me think is, if he had just a smidge of that work ethic, how good could he have been? Like, you did this on accident.
Well, that's why when you see the really great players of all time, I'll use Jerry Rice as an example.
Outworks everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. And Manziel.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady's not the most physically gifted quarterback.
Lived the game, and that's why he was there.
Peyton Manning, same way. Like, these guys were like that. Johnny Manziel. Now I got to find some cocaine and hookers. Put that on TV. I don't know. What about the Florida doc? You gonna watch it?
We've been asking for that one for a long time.
It's coming out this month, right? Isn't it like later this August?
I thought it would drop. Yeah, right around the start of college football season it drops.
Are these both Untold, that series on Netflix? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That's the Monte Teo one I was talking about.
Yeah.
That was great where it starts out like
Catfishing.
Oh, man. That was the catfish. Put a mustache on him or whiskers. He needs it.
Do that Florida one. We've been asking for that one for like 4 or 5 years.
So that was the Tebow, Aaron Hernandez. Who else was on that team?
The Pouncey brothers.
Okay.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting. And Urban Meyer, baby.
Well, it's just, how toxic was that locker room? Now that we look back,
It was the most
Urban
toxic.
acted like that in college, which he was worse than he did because he has these kids, and when he did this shit around NFL grown ass men, imagine how toxic Florida was at that
You
time.
definitely wilding out in Florida more than you are Columbus,
But, like,
right?
Think of how bad Urban Meyer had to be if he's that ballsy in the NFL around grown ass men.
I mean, that's what it is. It's just a big party, right? Now everybody comes in and we got football to play, by the way.
And then Tebow's like, guys, just, can I get you guys in a circle? And they're like, fuck no, I got more cocaine left.
You thought?
Imagine that locker room.
I just hope
about that.
I hope after we watch it, we come away feeling like they make the '80s Miami Hurricanes look like an afterthought. I hope that happens. I hope it's so out of control.
So we just talked all about all
this is like the '86 Mets.
the crazy stuff that happened there. And you know what the statue is
Mets didn't
outside
kill
of there?
anybody.
It's that Tim Tebow speech he gives after they lose their one game
Oh
that
yeah,
year.
the speech.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But so I'm excited for both docs. Like I'm going to watch them both for sure.
I
So
think I'd rather watch
apparently-
the second one.
You like the Florida Gator one
Oh,
more?
God. There's way more going on.
Apparently, Eric Bieniemy is like the NFL version of Urban Meyer.
That was my next topic. I like the segue there. So before we do that, I want to talk about Bieniemy. Who's on Hard Knocks this year? Do you know?
Jets.
The Jets? Really? With Aaron?
Yep.
Have you watched any of it?
I haven't.
Have you, Mr. Brown?
No.
I haven't watched Hard Knocks since the Bengals were on it when they had James Harrison. That's how long it's been.
James Harrison may have the greatest play in Super Bowl history.
He might.
Chad, that is your next
more
top five.
than I like how he's going to say James Harrison over David Tyree.
I said may have.
He didn't want to bring that up.
I don't know. Why would he?
Top 5 plays in
If my
Super Bowl
legs had
history.
moved right now, I'd punch you in the face.
You're too far away, and I know your legs hurt. You ain't getting up, so I'm
Yep.
safe. I'm safe tonight, fellas.
That's for another time. But
All right, Eric Bieniemy.
he was so bad in camp on his offensive players that they went to Ron Rivera and asked Ron Rivera to go to him and quit asking me such a hard ass.
Yeah, they couldn't stand up for themselves. They had to tell the head coach.
Then Ron Rivera puts that out into the media. I wonder how that conversation with him and the enemy
maybe
went behind
Rivera's
closed
so
doors.
scared to talk to him that that's his way to handle it. Like,
Yep.
I'll just put it out in the media, and maybe he'll get the hint.
I'll say this about, well, I was going to quit saying I'll say this, but I'll say this.
I don't ever want you to stop saying I'll say this.
Everyone wants to talk about Eric Bieniemy not getting a head coaching job and what is the reason why. They say he doesn't interview well. You know, is it racism? Okay.
Apparently he's just a hard
Andy
ass.
Reid's offensive coordinator, so he gets credit for all the offense. What I want to see this year out of the Washington, whatever they want to call themselves, with Eric Bieniemy as OC, is an offense that I think that Andy Reid's running. If they're scoring 27 points a game, give that man a head coaching job. Ron Rivera, move on out that door. Otherwise, let's move off Eric Bieniemy.
So, can I ask a stupid question? Because
Yes.
I'm drawing a blank. Why the hell did he leave KC and go to
Because
Washington?
3 years in a row, he's been overlooked by all the head coaching positions and not got it because
Still not a head coach.
because what he just said. He's in Andy Reid's shadow. So going to Washington, that shadow's gone. So if the offense does
He
well,
took the same job in Washington
Yeah.
just to prove he could do it without Andy Reid.
because he's not getting promoted where he's at. But that's the whole reason why he's there is he feels like he's betting on himself, essentially. He's just trying to prove himself now that he's there.
It's funny that he ends up there, and it's that deal. If you were going to hire him and expect the same thing that you got in Kansas City, you know on game day Andy Reid's making all the calls. You know he's a big part of what they're doing offensively.
Well, Andy Reid's the offense.
Yeah. So why are you hiring Eric Bieniemy as your head coach when you know he's not the guy running it?
Because he interviews so well.
It's like, so Josh McDaniels gets a job because they know he runs the offense, even though he shouldn't get the head coaching job.
I get it. All right. But so here's the question. Let's just wrap this up. Can he prove himself in Washington? Like if there was a team to go to and have the offense perform well, I don't think they've been a top 20 offense since like 2019.
Here's the thing. Who's the quarterback?
I don't even know.
Isn't that like Sam Howell?
What?
And he's serving beers at Cheers?
I don't know who Washington's quarterback is. I really don't know. Is it Patrick Ramsey?
I'm not sure.
No, at least still have.
Here's what I think: if Washington
gone, right?
has a top 10 offense this year, give Eric Bieniemy a head coaching job.
Just give him the Washington job, right?
So
Sorry, Ron.
Here's my question. So him switching from the same job over there to Washington, he had to come into camp with a chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
And he probably is being a little more harsh with his offensive unit because, one, he was comfortable in KC and he knew they were going to perform. Where he's coming into Washington and he knows this is a questionable unit.
Questionable. Dude, put him in the Hall of Fame if he has a top 15
That's
offense.
my point.
The quarterback room is Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, and Jake Fromm.
There you go.
Wow.
Jacoby Brissett will start.
Probably.
Yeah, he's always that guy that falls back to that spot every time. But my point is, he's crazy. So, like, if he does well with this, like you said, he deserves a spot after this year.
I mean, the good thing is he's young enough where whenever this inevitably fails and he doesn't get the head coaching job, he's got time to go to another team and build it back up.
It's just crazy that he ends up in Washington with Ron Rivera, who had to do the same lateral move before he could get a head coaching position. And when he finally got that head coaching position in Carolina, they ended up going to the Super Bowl. So
I was reading Rivera's comments about it, Bieniemy and him being like harsh or whatever, and he was like, I played for Ditka, and I don't necessarily lead the same way he does. So I'm like, man, you're comparing him to like these old school guys. Like these players nowadays, they're not going to respond to that well. Not even close. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be all right.
We'll see how it plays out.
All right. What else do we got? Anything else in NFL going on? Hard Knocks, we talked about Eric Bieniemy, Florida Doc, Manziel. I think it about wraps it up. You got anything else? He's just laughing. I went down my list. What notes do you have, Mr. Brown?
Oh, they're right here.
They're not.
They're on the notes,
damn
but
one.
we didn't really talk about it. I'll say this. Manziel Doc.
He'll say this.
Damn it.
I wonder how those neurons fire in that big old brain of yours.
They're firing like shotgun blasts.
They always be like, "I'll say this."
Manziel Doc or Florida. We need to watch one of them before we come back and talk this again.
Well, the Florida one's not out yet, so you and me, we need to watch the Manziel Doc because Mr. Brown said he's got to wait till baseball's not happening.
I might squeeze it in if I have to. Just remind me.
We're not going to ask it. If you do it, man, we're going to love you for it. But if not, it is what it is.
I'm sure I can still give you a few one-liners.
I'm sure your imagination about Manziel's life will not be.
You just rock those locks there, Mr. Fontana.
Fontana? What?
Ryan Fontana.
What is he talking about?
The Anchor 4 News team.
I don't know. But he sounded sexy.
He's making why did you say it with such
He shaves that down to sideburns, and he's Paul Rudd.
Nice.
Have you ever looked at a picture of Paul Rudd from like 95?
Yeah.
It's the same picture as now.
It is.
What is going on?
Lots of fetuses.
Is he a lizard person?
Baby
A lot of
fetuses.
fetuses being eaten.
Is he Scientology? Do we know?
I don't know. I love him as an actor, though.
Is he Scientology, Biggie?
I have no idea.
Is he Illuminati? Lizard
That's
person?
possible.
Can't rule anything out.
I do like Paul Rudd, though.
He's all right.
Great range.
You got a favorite Paul Rudd movie?
I got one that's funny, but it's not my favorite.
All right.
What is it? My Idiot Brother?
My Idiot Brother.
Well, it's one of those older ones. It has a
It
lot of people in
is.
it.
Isn't Paul Rudd and This Is 40?
Yes.
He
that's
is.
a great movie.
He's the one who's hung up on the girl. I always liked Role Models with Stifler, Sean William
I like
Scott.
that, too.
That's a good one.
My favorite thing. Wanderlust. My favorite thing, though, is him going on Conan O'Brien and always showing the same stupid film clip of Mac and Me as he was pubbing his movies. He'd be here to like talk about a movie. Let's roll the clip. And it'd be this stupid clip of the kid in the wheelchair going off the cliff into the lake. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the movie.
You know Mac and Me?
I remember Mac and Me.
McDonald's saw E.T. and they're like, we need to make a movie. That's what that was.
It was.
Oh,
It was
shit.
the Big K version of my
Big K. Great value.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Oh, but why was the kid in the wheelchair going into the cliff, or off the cliff into the lake? That's it. Oh, it was so good.
So I have a question for you guys. If I gave you $1 billion, what would you do with it?
Bill, why are we going there now? $1 billion.
I can't even comprehend that.
What would you do with $1 billion?
Two chicks at the same time. I don't know.
Hey, man.
Okay.
That's
Phil
prophecy.
Mickelson decided to gamble $1 billion.
We go in there now. So we got a lot to talk about in the ancillary sports here. But let's talk about Philip. $1 billion
gambled over 3 decades.
There's no way that's real.
I bet it is. He's made a lot of money.
He ain't made $3 billion.
$1 billion.
Well, all right. He ain't made $1 billion.
Dude, the Live Tour just gave him like $240 million.
Yeah, but that's in taxes. There, no.
That Saudi money don't get taxed.
I don't know how long I can talk about Phil Mickelson, so I'm probably going to go play NBA Jam. I'll be back when y'all are
I'm
done.
just asking, do you think he spent $1 billion gambling? That's the report.
No, I'm sure,
that's insane.
The reason it's in here, and the reason I bring it up is NFL players get suspended for betting $1,500 like on a game that they're not playing in. Phil Mickelson has bet billions on MLB games and apparently
not
stuff that he plays
right?
in.
No, they said he has bet $1 billion over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Man.
He once made 43 MLB bets in one day.
No wonder ESPN bought what's it called? Or who are they merging with? ESPN. There's going to be like Bet ESPN now. Is it
MGM?
Penn National? No, MGM.
Thought it was.
I don't know. Either way, ESPN knows what's up. They're trying to get in on it. But we had a bunch of stuff happen over the weekend, so I at least want to take a second. We started a wrestling group. We had Summerslam over the weekend. Did you guys even care that Summerslam happened?
According to our text thread, I was the one of us that was least interested.
What did I even comment?
I don't know. I think I'm the only one that lived it and watched it. I
thought
watch
you and him were texting back and forth.
Man, I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't think I watched it.
Yeah, no, you did say something. You don't remember.
He's trying to play it off like he
was out of his mind. All right, so I don't want to talk about it a lot, but it was a big deal. They did a stadium show. It was in Detroit.
The reason that I like to talk about it is because of this. SummerSlam in 1992, which is revered across all spectrums as far as this time of year and a wrestling event, 79,127 for attendance. AEW All In.
Going to Wembley, yeah.
79,346.
That's the same stadium.
Yep.
That'll be interesting. I hope it's a good show, but that's later this month. But you got SummerSlam. It just happened. Roman Reigns.
No, I was texting stuff. I kind of remember now.
Yeah, so we had
over falling down again.
Yeah, you had Cody, and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
I
can see a lot of it.
Brock Lesnar is my favorite active wrestler. Like I don't know, people are going to get mad at that.
Oh, dude.
But
Brock Lesnar is a once-in-a-lifetime.
People bitch all the time and say he's just doing it for the money and things like that. But like he gives to the business. So like unscripted after the match in the ring, they do the handshake moment. And that wasn't scripted. That wasn't planned. That wasn't part of it. That's like Brock recognizing like, wow, Cody just got over. I'm going to pass the torch essentially and let him carry this face, in the Survivor Series of WrestleMania next year. It was a big moment. That was good. I like that a lot. Seth Rollins retained his title.
So,
go ahead.
With Lesnar, for me, as a casual wrestling fan, I know you're not getting him every pay-per-view.
He's an attraction.
Right, I get that. But since he's came into the business, every time he's out there, he puts on a show. He never takes a day off. So every time you get him, it is 100% effort every time.
But anyway, Lesnar's that main attraction. But SummerSlam, it was fine. It was good. Roman Reigns retained. He's been a champ for 1,000+ days now.
You break Hogan's streak of longest reign or something like that.
I don't think it's Hogan. I think they're going after Bruno Sammartino.
Okay.
That's 7 years though.
Mr. Madison Square Garden, Bruno Sammartino.
What do you exactly? See, you know your history.
No, I know.
Speaking of history, in the wrestling group we started, I accidentally posted something I had no knowledge that you posted earlier in the day when talk about a couple of legends was Bam Bam Bigelow and Andre.
Yeah, I posted a little story, but I know you know the story.
Yeah, just that. Well, Andre,
he didn't like him.
If he didn't like you, he didn't like you, and you weren't going to get over the way you wanted to get over. You want to get over the hard way.
Think about that back then compared to now. Imagine a wrestler just walking out not knowing what the hell is going to go. What's going to go down?
I know, right?
You had to be intimidated.
You think about it like this, talking about him not liking Bam Bam. Hogan now will tell you the story of WrestleMania when he slams him. He wrote the whole match down. he didn't know if Andre was going to go for any of it.
He didn't know.
And if he didn't go for it, as bad off as he was, Hogan still didn't have a chance to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, Andre was a different cat. But let me ask you this on Andre. Do you feel like maybe we oversell how big he was a little bit? I feel like I see some of these pictures of like Wilt Chamberlain and stuff, and I'm like, he was big, but you know,
he wasn't 7'4". He was about 7'7",
which is still pretty. Damn
but
big.
like because he's head to head with Wilt, so
Right.
it's not like we're saying he's not like 6'8", and we're saying he's 7'4".
Right.
He's probably 7'1", and he's 7'4". But looking at him, if they said he was 500 pounds, I would absolutely believe.
Yeah,
it.
his girth was definitely
Like a freaking tree trunk.
So we were talking about the Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar thing. Cody Rhodes in the press conference said that he was really worried about doing the presser because he thought Brock was so much taller than him. And we showed up. He's like, "Oh, we're the same height. He's just 3 times wider than I am."
They're the same height?
Yeah. See, you wouldn't think that.
What are they, about 6'3"?
Probably.
Yeah.
You know,
6'3", 6'4",
6'2", 6'4", somewhere.
And
in
then one
there.
of them's 100 pounds heavier than the
Yeah,
other.
one of them's like 290.
And then,
Dude, have you ever seen Lesnar next to a regular person? Like when he's walking down the ramp and some guy who is like Chad size stands next to him, 6-foot dude who weighs 200 pounds. He makes them look like they're a freaking middle school kid.
Like that, he would ragdoll just about anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, he's got 2 freaking NCAA division titles as a wrestler.
He almost made an NFL team. Like he was the last cut on the Vikings. Like don't get me wrong, like he wasn't that good, but like for somebody that never played, he was light years ahead of some of those guys.
Well, I love what some of these guys do. And here's like that spirit to have in yourself. You think you want your kids to have it. I'm going to refer it to wrestling. Brock Lesnar, great wrestler, wanted to play football, got cut. Bill Goldberg played for the Falcons, got cut. What'd they do? I can take my size, my image, I can make myself into something in this world of professional wrestling. They didn't just say, well, I guess I'm going to go big groceries.
Well, here's the deal, though. I agree with you, but Goldberg sucks ass.
He's Greenberg.
Well, he came in at the exact right time.
No, absolutely, but Lesnar is a badass, and he's like he knows he could go any match you want him to go.
Yeah.
But Goldberg,
Like Lesnar's
You gotta
legit
carry him.
badass. He couldn't do a
Goldberg was a
3-minute house
one-trick
show.
pony.
yeah.
Yeah, I your fair weather fans are going to love a Bill Goldberg because he growls and snarls and has the pyro, and he looks like a badass. I get it, but
He was what they needed at the time,
Yeah.
and being realistic, they never had to have like a 3-minute match because it was it's extend the streak.
So let me go to the other end. We talk about these football players getting into the business. Now you got YouTubers getting into the business. It actually started with The Miz, coming in from the reality TV and whatnot. But you got
to Miz's credit, he's been a character in WWE for what over a decade.
He's a Hall of
15
Famer.
years
He's a Hall of
now?
Famer,
Dude,
He
His character,
Mr. Reliable.
I mean, but to what I remember watching him on that MTV show, and
The
then
Real
seeing
World.
where he came now as a wrestler. He's an amazing character, and he
Dude.
plays it so well.
The Miz is a showman.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he gets everybody over, man, because he does just enough to make everybody like, I hate that guy.
Well,
He
I'll
gets
say
under your
this.
skin.
For The Miz to be who The Miz is and him to have the dad that he has, it just doesn't make sense.
So one of the Miz's more recent feuds last year, you're right about the dad, by the way. But have you ever seen his dad?
No.
He looks like Biggie with long hair.
Okay.
Is that fair?
That's kind of crazy.
Like if you had a mullet?
Well, he's a little shorter. He wears glasses.
I don't know if he's short.
I don't know if I was like sitting here in a cave and like from the dark, a Biggie with long hair came at me.
It'll look like a Sasquatch.
I'd probably just wet my pants.
Not the moist way either.
No, it was being
This is drenched.
in fear.
All right, so YouTuber turned wrestler,
Yeah.
Logan Paul. Have you ever seen him wrestle?
I have. He's amazing in the ring.
Dude, it's one of those guys where you're kind of like, he shouldn't be this good. And like you want to hate him because nobody likes the Paul brothers, but yet they constantly gain attention.
But it's kind of like the one that's actually putting in the work as opposed to the one who won't even fight an actual boxer in his competition.
Well, that's where I was getting to. He's next on the list. But what was amazing was Logan Paul had a match at SummerSlam, and then he showed up to be in the corner for his brother Saturday night because his brother fought Nate Diaz.
No, but it's funny because Logan is probably the lesser known of the two.
Yeah, I'd say
and
so.
now he's probably shown he's probably the better of the two because there is some skill there.
He just took a fight on. Did you see that?
No.
I don't know who he's fighting, but he's fighting somebody in like 2 months.
I don't know who it is. I haven't seen it. In the ring, he's amazing. If he were to dedicate himself full-time to wrestling, he could be one of the best stars that they have in the business.
Yeah, and that's where he's on his way to. But going to his brother, did you watch the Nate Diaz fight at all?
Nah, I just saw highlights.
I mean, I watched the whole thing. It was entertaining. I think boxing fans, if you tune in for that type of show, you got what you wanted. It went 10 rounds, which they asked for it to go longer because Nate Diaz knew that he had a gas tank. So he's like, well, we'll make it go 10. Now, Nate Diaz,
He's not a boxer.
he's not a boxer. Unorthodox would be a polite way to refer to how he approached the fight, but he can hit and he can take a punch. And he took a lot of punches. And old Jake Paul was getting inside on him, and he hit him with a jab, but he just kept busting him with these uppercuts. But then when you got to like the 7th round, Nate started hitting. They'd get like almost in the clinch, and you would just see somebody's head rock back from all it was these close encountered uppercuts. But Nate Diaz got knocked down one time. Jake Paul probably won 7 rounds out of the 10.
So you enjoyed the fight?
Yeah, it was fun because you felt like I thought Jake was going to knock him out because Nate's eyes were swelled up, like he was taking damage.
Yeah.
But you know,
What I want to
he
see
probably
is,
swells right away anyway.
Right.
I want to see Jake Paul against Deontay Wilder. And if Jake Paul
that's not gonna
somehow
happen.
lives through the fight, he gets to lose to Tyson Fury.
But you know what, though? Like, I'm kind of in the same camp like Tyson is. Like, if you ever hear anybody ask Tyson what he thinks of Jake Paul, and he's like, well, he's doing more to put eyes on the sport than half of these other fighters out there.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm a fan. You know, he's put
I like that. I
Other
like that
boxers should be thankful because if you're on a Jake Paul card, you're getting paid.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and there's not that many, great fights out there
So
right
why
now.
would they be hating on it?
Right. Like,
he's getting you a payday.
hitch to the wagon, get on there. But, I'm
It's because it's an unorthodox way to get there, and he's gotten there through a different channel. But at the end of the day, if you're getting paid, who gives a shit?
yeah. I will say,
You know what's crazy is it took 2 decades for boxing and UFC to flip. Because it went from boxing as the pure sport, and
see, I'm a boxing guy.
that's what you grew up with. And I'm a boxing guy,
I think
too.
I am, too,
And
but I just haven't
the
seen
UFC was a gimmick, and that's all it was. And now boxing is a gimmick, and UFC is where the purebreds are.
I really like watching both, though. Like, I've grown into a UFC fan.
I love watching.
I'm so excited for the Fury fight with Tyson training the other guy now coming up. I'm so excited for that fight. And I'd love to watch it down here.
Well, we will, but until
Who's the
Fury,
It's Fury's coming back to fight.
I heard that, but I can't remember who he's fighting. It's not a big name boxer.
No, it's a big heavyweight dude.
you keep talking about him, I'm gonna look
He's
it
a
up.
beast. But Mike Tyson agreed to train him to fight Fury.
Damn, I hope he knocks Fury out so I get another fight. And I'm a Fury fan.
No. But he's such a good showman.
You know what I love about Fury?
Wait, he's
Here's
gonna
this
fight
bigger guy who gets in the
Ngannou?
ring and just
Francis
dominates
Ngannou?
guys.
You know who Francis Ngannou is? He's
And-
UFC guy.
He just flabs the whole time.
What? But Ngannou's like a legit badass. But Fury's going to destroy him. He's not a boxer.
And then Tyson's training him.
He needs 3 years. Like, there's no way. I mean, now, because here's the thing. You're hoping Ngannou's going to have like that heat-seeking missile like Wilder has. Yeah. But if Wilder couldn't get the job done, what makes you think this guy's going to?
That dude is thick, though.
Oh,
Have you seen him?
He's a badass.
Like I'm not saying he would win, but I'm saying he's a bull.
But that's where
And
we're at.
They will be able to push each other around a little bit.
But that's where we're at. This is what you have to draw for a fight.
Tyson Fury was retired already. How much money is he getting to do this fight?
Well, here's the thing. As soon as if he loses, he'll retire.
Yep.
Because like
if he wins,
No,
he's
he's
probably
retired already.
He's already retired.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. Like, but even like you're not getting another
Well, I
big
guess
fight.
he's not
out here.
retired if he's fighting
It's all
again. But
planned clearly because and Mike Tyson was involved because if we Mike Tyson's training, that raises the value of the pay-per-view
It
automatically.
does. Now you
know-
need Jake Paul to go
Yeah.
in Tyson's or the Fury's corner.
Yeah.
Just get everybody.
we all like to make fun of Mike Tyson. We love the memes and how
I love
he
Tyson.
talks. You tell me of another guy who had such a career rebound as he did, because he went from being the baddest man on the planet to, he got screwed out of his money, and he was a fat guy, and he thought that's how people remember him. Then he's on Broadway doing stand-up. He got back into shape. He's got back into the ring. He does his own podcast, has his own, like, brand or strain of weed that he sells.
Right.
A lot of boxers, once they're out of the ring, they're virtually dead. George Foreman's like the guy you remember as being the post-career guy.
No, but here's the deal, though. As a boxer, period, all you think of because of his post-career with Tyson is it Ali or is it Tyson? That's it. That's the two.
Yeah.
Right now, if you want to talk about all of it, as far as biggest like culture icon, it's Ali and Tyson.
Yep.
For the boxing history.
Did you see the video I put on YouTube today?
No.
This is you want to talk about cultural icons?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Oh,
Flair
wow.
and Tyson.
Flair and
Talked about
Tyson.
that earlier
Man.
off the mic.
Legendary.
I want to say that Flair is one of the legends that was just talking about Logan Paul, saying that maybe it was Flair, maybe it was another guy, but he was saying that if he were to full-time dedicate himself, he'd be one of the best guys we have to offer.
Did you see that bat fly through here?
Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah, one right
There was
behind
literally
you.
a bat just flew by while Mr. Brown was throwing away a beer can. Didn't even notice.
I saw the shadow.
You just didn't phase you.
It didn't matter.
My God, it's Jason Bourne.
I was on a mission.
I ain't got
That is
time
one
for
of
that.
my favorite memes. Every time some fat ass does something special, they flip to, it's Jason Ball.
Should we have made that about?
Why did you have to call me a fat ass? That was such a good moment, and you said that.
You know what? We didn't even
Here's the
talk
thing. I'm
about.
fat. I get to call people
We
fat.
should have made the video of Jose being Jason Bourne. That would have been good. We didn't even talk about the base brawl.
I was feeling really good about that whole bat situation.
Yeah.
Because I didn't react at all, and then he just calls me a
No,
fat
I
ass.
see. I was trying to just
Well, I wasn't
sweep it under
calling
the
you
rug
a
and
fat
move
ass.
on.
I said some fat ass.
Like that was like literally.
Nah,
I wish now it would have bit me because I would have like Batman powers.
That's Spider-Man. Batman didn't get bit by a bat.
I mean, but it probably happened the same way.
You could be like the man bat.
Exactly.
Wouldn't want to be that. No, we didn't talk about the base brawl. We got so caught up in Rangers crap earlier. We didn't talk about Down Goes Anderson.
Yeah.
We had our guest.
That was a really
earlier.
good call.
He was talking about how Anderson's been slumping. Hell, he ain't ever getting out of it now.
I'm wondering if he even like resumes his major league career after this season.
I mean, the suspension was longer, not because he started it, but because he needs time to heal that ego.
Exactly.
But you got knocked the fuck out.
He did, Smokey.
And here's the thing, though. I know Jose hit him, but I feel like the punch wasn't that good of a punch.
It was a lucky punch.
Jose's eyes were kind of closed.
He was just swinging wildly.
And I'm actually shocked that it knocked Tim Anderson out. I'm like, really?
It just caught him square, but it wasn't. He didn't have everything behind it. It was awkwardly thrown.
I'm just saying, like, if you're going to get knocked out by that, like, lucky, like, half-ass punch, you probably need to quit talking shit on Twitter.
But if you're Tim Anderson, like you earned this, right? Like
no, you ain't earned shit. Just because
no.
you walk it off at the Field of Dreams game.
You earned the punch, man, because
Oh.
you brought the hands up. You
No,
wanted to throw hands.
absolutely he did.
Why? Why did you want to throw hands with Jose Ramirez?
Well, that's
There's more
the
to
thing.
story, by the
I need
way.
to hear it.
Well, Tim Anderson been disrespecting the game. He tags guys too hard, and I don't like it. He got knocked the hell out by not even a real fist. If you go back and look at it, it's not the fist that hits him. It's like an open face, closed fist. It's a half slap. Eyes closed.
So you're saying he's got a glass jaw?
Yes.
So what led up to this was Jose Ramirez actually has an issue with Tim Anderson.
Okay.
So he hasn't came out publicly because he's trying to keep it in house.
These are divisional rivals,
right.
so they're
he's
used
trying to keep
each
it in
other.
house, and Jose's the face of Cleveland. So
Jose,
exactly,
Jose,
it was
Jose,
amazing.
Jose.
They broke that out once this happened with the
Yeah.
punch, and they started chanting. I would feel like I was on top of the world.
I know, man.
You know what I mean?
We just won the heavyweight title.
No, but for real. So Tim Anderson to me has always acted or seemed like a punk from the outside, but Jose hasn't liked him for a while. For 2 or 3 instances where they've came together in an infield or a slide or whatever. Well, he just said, you know what? I'm coming to second base hot, and Tim tagged him hot. So then Jose got up and they started talking and telling him, I feel like you've been just disrespecting the game for years. Jose tells him this. Well, then Tim puts his hand
That's
up.
his response is, I fine, bitch,
Let's
we'll
go.
throw hands.
And then they both throw hands, and then, Tim gets knocked out and Jose gets a lucky punch, but then the Jose chants break out in Cleveland with 40K strong.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, think about that.
That's
Can you
how it
imagine
started?
being there that night?
Oh, it'd be great.
I mean, we had a hell of a game. 14 innings?
Yeah, but that would have been better.
That would have been better.
Have you ever been to a game with a base brawl?
Never.
Man, that'd be fun.
I've been to a 14-inning game, which was amazing with you guys.
Yep.
I've been to a 25-1 beatdown.
Yep.
That was amazing for different reasons.
So where do you rank this one at, just recent memory baseball fights?
Odor is way better.
Odor's is better.
Way better connection on that punch.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Odor is a guy you want on your side. He's that guy that you'd rather play with him than against him.
It sounds like an MMA name,
But
too.
that was
Odor.
a punch, bro.
No, I liked it. He rocked
Odor's
the
a great
Bautista.
striker.
Dude, that was
Brazilian
like,
That was
Jiu-jitsu.
swear.
yeah.
He knocked his helmet off his face.
What you could tell is he's done that before.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like, you can't fight with these Cuban boys,
So,
man.
I guess my point
Don't be
is,
messing with
you
them.
putting Jose versus Rodon or Odor, I'm taking Odor every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
11 out of 10 times
that
give me
fair?
rock banging Odor.
Yeah.
Biggie's grabbing his mic and getting aggressive.
There's a funny thing, real quick, about MLB fights. So everyone loves, because it's the recent anniversary of Nolan Ryan beating the shit out of Ventura.
Yeah, that never
then
gets old.
Everyone wants to forget about the fact that Dave Winfield just had his way with Nolan Ryan early on in about 81, 82.
I feel like Dave Winfield could do that with a lot of
Dave
That's
Winfield's
the whole
a bad
reason.
man.
Nolan Ryan will tell you that's
No,
why
I
it
agree.
happened that way with Ventura. Was
after
because
that.
He didn't want to fuck around and find out.
He said after that, he says, I was prepared anytime someone stepped towards me. And I get it. But Dave Winfield, we put him on another level
Yeah.
of superhumans.
Yeah, he's earned that.
Yeah,
and
so-
not just because Nolan Ryan.
he could have been a professional in baseball, football, or basketball.
All from Minnesota.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
from Minnesota.
Correct.
Really?
He grew up in Minnesota.
All right.
That's why he's finished career as a twin, 91
Minnesota.
Twins, World Series.
Minnesota.
But anyway,
Twins.
so then I posted in my group because Mike Heath, who we've interviewed,
Yeah.
likes to fight like
yeah, he got
Jim Rice
he got
and
a little
Dave
skirmish
Winfield.
with Dave Winfield.
because. But if you're a catcher, it don't matter if you're undersized. You've got to take up for your pitcher,
Right.
And Mike Heath,
You're the
was
first
that
line of
guy.
defense.
So then I saw it in the group, and I text Mike, and I was like, "Listen, I'm gonna pick on you a little bit today." And he's like, "It's fine." So then I put it in there, and I was like, "Group member Mike Heath bullying Dave Winfield."
Yeah, I
and then
saw
everybody
that.
started talking shit like all this, and I'm like, They're like, "You must know him pretty good," and I'm like. He said it was cool, so I posted it, and then he's going to respond. He went through there and reacted with everybody.
Yeah, that's good shit, man.
But, I mean, those are the good shit back when they would let you kind of fight it out and police yourself.
Yeah, kind of
Not
like
please yourself.
police-
Police yourself.
or they
Or
could.
you could do both.
If it was the Mets clubhouse.
Well, allowing them to police themselves is the best thing that second base ump did. Because once they squared off, he backed out of it.
Play me some light jazz.
White Jazz.
All right, so we're going to finish with this, or maybe we won't finish with this, but there's been a thing that's on our show notes for like 4 weeks now, and we never talk about it.
Can we save it to last? I just got one thing. Just because he was making a segue, talk about people being disrespected, I wanted to talk about women's soccer for a second.
Megan Rapapone.
Is that how you say it? Is it Rapino or Rapino? How do you say it?
Rapino.
I just wanted to ask.
I thought it was Rapinoe.
I could care less about
I
soccer
call
in
it
general.
Rapino.
All right, so this isn't a hate for women's soccer. I just don't like soccer. I can't get into it. But all the other countries apparently were really happy to see him get bounced because they go over there and they're talking like they got a chip on their shoulder, like they expect to win. We're not in the finals yet, and then they get bounced in the round of 16, I guess. But I guess this is the end of the dynasty. It's over. She's retiring. But man, there's a lot of hate for her. Is that well deserved, or is this just people?
No,
being...
it's fairly well deserved because she's used her fame from that platform to disrespect the team that she basically earned that fame playing for.
I mean, in a nutshell, she's basically the Colin Kaepernick of women's soccer.
Yeah.
And she's trying to actually do this now so she can try to capitalize probably from sales or political, whatever.
Yep.
I feel like that's where she's going because she knew her career was winding down, just like Colin did. but we'll never pretend that was really the case.
She retired. Like she walked
did.
away. So.
I think she did a lot of this though to open avenues for her because she is so strong.
No such thing as bad publicity, right? Just get your name out there, and there's a whole movement that she's associated with. So I mean, she's got her fans. Don't get me wrong.
I guess what I'm trying to say, unfortunately, I don't feel like we're going to see her going away anytime soon.
No, you're going to see her face around for a while.
She'll be somebody will put her on TV for
there was a report out there that there was a fight in her locker room afterwards because she missed a penalty kick that ended up losing it for him, and she blew it bad.
Yep.
And then she thought it was funny how poorly she played and missed in her last game that she was playing, and her and Alex Morgan maybe got in a fight in the locker room, which it's rumors, but
I'd love to see footage of that.
Oh yeah,
well, that would be interesting to watch. Yeah, because what's cool about when women fight, like they don't care how they look. Men are like you saw whenever Anderson threw his hand, like he wanted to look cool. Women don't give a shit.
I love women fighting. I just want to throw that out there.
They're ruthless.
Yes.
Like somebody's going down to the ground.
When there's women fighting, that nothing's off limits.
No, hair's getting pulled, scratched.
I feel like in a dude fight, if you're fighting, you square up and then you just immediately punch him as hard as you can in the balls. Obviously, that's frowned upon, right?
Yeah, we can't do that.
But if a woman, they're starting to scrap, and someone goes straight for the hair and then straight for a coochie grab,
like uppercut
right in there, I'm telling you exactly that. They would be like, "That's fair game."
Yeah,
because we're women and we're just freaking.
It ain't
crazy.
about style points; it's about winners and losers.
Guys, they're truly the ones that would fight to the death.
I'll say this.
I know you will.
As someone who used to enjoy
neurons
going to the bar, having a few, playing
Did you say
pool,
bar or Baja?
Bar.
You going to Mexico?
When you're young, you think there's rules to fighting. As you get a little older, you get in your late 20s, your early 30s, you realize
bar fights. There's no rules.
That guy's talking shit, you're talking a little shit, and he wants to square up, and he's open in the middle. Kick that motherfucker in the nuts, drop him, knee that motherfucker in the face, and put him down. Because tomorrow when you wake up and you feel good and you go to work and you don't have to explain a black eye, you won that fight.
You go Bobby Hill. Let go of my purse. Kick him out of the nuts. Dude, hey, did you hear Johnny
Boomhauer died.
Yeah, no.
Or not Boomhauer.
It was Dale. Dale Gribble died. Yep. Rusty Shackelford.
Guess they're not doing a remake.
That sucks. I can't even tell you how brokenhearted that makes me. Dale Gribble, man, you can't do the show without him. Anyway, Biggie, how did you want to wrap up? You had something you wanted to get off your chest.
Don't stop believing. That's the most
80s song?
overplayed, overrated
He wanted to hit the 80s
song.
song.
I didn't know.
We're not prepared.
No, that's fine.
All right, so what?
That's why I threw it out there, just because it's been on there and we haven't discussed it.
I have mine ready.
So
I feel like "Don't Stop Believing." So what we're going to talk about?
I love that song.
Let me set the table.
Listen to it regularly.
Let me set the
they gotta know
table.
what we're talking about.
Let me set the table. So we're not just talking about songs we dislike, just ones that got worn out. 80s songs.
80s overplayed song
just
of all time.
Played to death.
Overplayed. I said overrated. Overplayed.
So I can see "Don't Stop Believing" being high on that list. But I feel like it wasn't always that way. About 10 years ago, it probably got on the list. Is that fair? Or do you feel like
it's a
always
huge karaoke song, and I think that's why it gets overplayed on the radio, because so many people think they can sing it. Yeah. And Peter Griffin and Cleveland and them thought they could do it. It was the only song they could sing. And
all right, so you got a list?
No, I got my most overplayed song for the 80s.
Did you Google it, Biggie? Because it does say "Don't Stop Believing" is listed as the top overplayed 80s song.
It was just my
I got my personal song. Okay,
right,
is that fair? I'm not Googling. This is my feelings.
One?
I do like to Google.
No, I wanted to do the top one for us.
All right. I got a top 5. Do you want to do mine first and see if yours is in here?
Can I say mine?
Sure.
Real quick, and then you can have the other 4. Is that fair?
I'm just going off. It's not even mine. I'm just going off the list.
I know, but it was ours.
All right, what's yours?
So, no, to me, it's Thriller, because it's a Halloween song, and I know it's great, and it's Michael Jackson, but I feel like you need to only play that like a quarter of the year, and you force it down my throat all year long, when it's like, that's like if I had to listen to Mariah Carey coming out of the ocean with "All I Want for Christmas Is You" all year round.
If that was in the 80s, that would be on the list.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so to me, Thriller's a great song, but quit pushing it out of its element.
I feel like Wham! And "Don't Wake Me Up Before You Go Go."
I knew you go there.
I feel like I've
go.
a million times. I don't ever want to hear it again. And then, but you know what's overplayed more than any of them? I don't know if it's on the list or not, but Rick Astley. Never going to give you
clearly now.
But I think we've grown to love it.
Yeah.
Like, if that song came on right now, I'd listen to the whole thing. I don't care.
I agree. It's probably the most overplayed 80s song ever now because of what's went down.
Yeah.
And no one's mad about it.
No, you can't be mad about it because it's a good damn
That's
song.
probably the correct answer.
Put some respect on that song. All right, here's your top 5. 1988's Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. I see that one. How about Rock You Like a Hurricane? Maybe.
Yeah. Every hockey arena for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I guess. Don't Stop Believing is actually number 4 on here. Ooh, Cool in the Gang. Celebrate good
Yeah, because they play at any kind of good event, like an anniversary,
It's
graduation.
every wedding.
Weddings. Like, you just got to think of wedding songs.
I mean, that's it. It's played all the time. Done.
Right. We have
That's probably might make it run for number 1.
number 2. I don't know. I'm surprised this isn't number 1.
All right.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
That's more bachelorette parties and things. I feel like Celebrate has more appeal for the overall event.
I don't know when this list came out, but number 1 I'm not happy about.
What?
It shouldn't be on here because I feel like it's fallen out of favor. This list, this is like 6 years old, but even 6 years ago, Kokomo by the Beach Boys.
I love that song.
How's that overplayed?
That's
I can't tell you the last time I heard it.
No, me neither.
Like,
See, I think Don't Stop Believing because personally, I love the song. I like the band. And I don't like to sing, especially in front of other people. That's the only karaoke song I've ever sang. I've sang it like 4 times. It's good. If I sing it, then it's overplayed.
I just want you to know you can sing in front of me anytime you want, big guy.
yeah, you wanna hum a few bars or get us a.
Only if Turbo Tommy breaks out the beer belt.
I'll tell you what else. Maybe he'll sing a few bars once you break out the guitar after we're off the air.
We might do that. You know what we'll do is we got to play Country Roads one time on the show, but that's a teaser for another date and time. Last thing I got to say, then we'll wrap up, play some voicemails, TV shows. I watched Twisted Metal.
I have not.
I had no real interest to watch it. We were just laying in bed, and my wife's like, I wonder if it's any good. And I'm like, let's go ahead and watch it. I never fell in love with it, but I found myself continuing to watch it. And then by the time I got to the end of the first season, I was actually interested for season 2.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it.
I sent it to Chad, and he had some smart-ass comment.
What?
So is this the rain? So
He's
here's
like, I'm
the thing.
sure it's terrible.
Wouldn't you think so?
But why go in like that?
I mean,
You commit hard on the negative
That's not
side
even a
on a lot of
commitment.
things.
So when I saw who had it was Zombieland and someone else.
gave you optimism. You had the girl from Brooklyn
That's
Nine-Nine.
why I sent it.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd see all that before you were just like, it's terrible.
You know what? You don't know what made me watch it was Samoa Joe was Sweet Tooth.
Seriously?
You didn't know that?
No.
So he's Sweet Tooth, but he doesn't do the voice.
Yeah.
And I was reading an interview where he's been in wrestling. Sometimes has worn a mask before. He was able to emote without facial expressions because he wears the clown mask. So it's a really good job. But no, I'm not saying it was great, but it was a fun ride. So they haven't had like a Brawl for All tournament yet. They've actually built a story up to where you're going to get like the tournament where all the cars fight, but they do soup them up and you got to suspend a little disbelief, but it's very funny, dark humor, a lot of blood and gore and just slapstick stuff. But I will say there is a lovemaking scene that takes place in a ball pit. That seems like an amazing concept to me.
In a ball pit, like old school, like we're talking about like Hardee's.
Yeah. Like McDonald's play place, like before they had needles in them.
Oh yes.
Biggie knows
I would have never thought
those.
about making love in a ball pit.
Yeah. They apparently so nice. They did it twice,
Nice.
but I could see that.
How much different would it be than like a waterbed?
I just feel like you could probably be more vertical and the
I don't
balls
know.
would support you.
I feel like in the ballroom, if you're just laying on your back, you'd eventually just sink down and smother.
Like eventually you just work it. It's like quicksand.
Yeah. It was like every
But
person's
we really peaked.
nightmare.
We really peaked in the 80s. You slept on water.
And McDonald's had a ball pit.
Yeah, until Biggie threw it in the Canal River.
Not the whole ball pit.
Wait a minute.
The
talking
Poker
about-
River.
Poker River.
I'm talking about the whole damn playground.
Yeah, well, he didn't throw the whole damn playground in the river. Just part of it. Because what do they say nowadays? Fuck them kids.
Radio edit.
Oh, that happened though, right?
I can neither confirm nor deny the events which we discuss without the secretary's approval.
All right, we'll take that for what it is. So anyway, I'm just saying, watch Twisted Metal. It's fine. But that's wrapping us up here tonight. Let's play some voicemails. Have you heard the one from Joey Votto about that yet?
I have not.
I'm about to play it for you. You're going to laugh your ass off. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week. Enjoy these voicemails. And don't forget, head over to wdksports.us. You can leave us a voicemail anytime you feel like it.
Okay, so I'm here to tell you that Joey Votto's dick has to be down to his knees. Because, one, I mean, it's Joey Votto. And two, I watched him readjust himself like 50 fucking times on Monday. I am determined that there has to be a video or a nude or something so that I can see what's going on there. So my voicemail is to see if you guys can dig in a little deeper and find out just how big Joey Votto's dick is, because I have a feeling it's huge. I mean, I know he walks around with this swagger. I don't know if that's swagger, or if his dick is just so big that he has to walk that way. But I am also willing to do the research for you guys and find out. So if we could maybe arrange that, I would totally be down to find out just how big Joey Votto's dick is. Just let me know if I can help.
Well, I think the Astros are overrated. Part of the reason is because they're behind the Rangers, who are also overrated. But here's the thing. Everyone wants to act like they were the best team of the decade last year, but they almost got swept by the Mariners in the ALDS. That series could have easily been a sweep in favor of Seattle. Game 1, we're not going to talk about it. Game 2, we're not going to talk about that either. Game 3, I guess we can talk about that in the 18 innings that Houston didn't score in, or 17 and 2/3 innings, I guess. But yeah, Houston's offense was pretty dead that series, not even going to lie. Mariners pitching has already been owning them this year. Yeah, I think the gap between the Mariners and Astros has closed. Also, the Rangers are going to fall off because they have one of the hardest schedules remaining in baseball. And the Mariners are going to win the division because of that. So, just wanted to say that really quick. And the Angels suck too, by the way. And Ohtani is going to be a Mariner.
Message deleted.
Not eating off the
California
hibachi
rolls. Yeah, I fucking drank water. I had nothing else.
Why are you over here?
Yeah. So the guy comes out.
Experience ever at hibachi? Is that what this is?
Yes. The guy comes out and starts cooking, and he's flipping like the egg on a spatula, and he throws it in his hat, and he starts cooking it. And when he starts cooking the rice, he makes it into a shape of a heart.
Oh.
And he goes, makes it up, whatever. He's like, me love you long time. And he
said
in the middle and turns it into a broken heart. But he did that. He go, me love you long time.
What other shapes did he make?
Me
out
and
of
the
food?
fucking old guy next to me, who thankfully didn't rub my leg, lost our fucking shit. Everyone else sitting there had no clue what he was referring to.
Oh, he had you pegged.
And this guy,
walked in.
The chef dude, he couldn't have been. He was in his mid-20s. He was a young guy, but he goes, love you long time. Whoosh, and he just put it. I don't know.
How was his egg game?
Pretty good.
And did you ooh and ah with the volcano?
No.
I'm disappointed.
No.
I had my head down and I went to take a drink of water and he threw some shit down. I went,
Biggie, calm down.
I thought he really fell
He's
down.
breaking your furniture.
I thought he fell down.
Oh, my
Haley's
God.
like, I didn't realize this is what this was. And I said, Haley, I had no idea either. But
That's a celebration. She got her driver's license.
we went back after that. And when we sat down the first time she went to practice, instead of asking me what to do, she's like, all right, lined my tire up, reverse, turn signal, talked it all out, practiced, and we went back another day and practiced, and I never had to tell her anything again after I was a complete fucking dickhead. And then she practiced and practiced, and we went, and then she passed. So
there you go. When's
Tough
the next
love,
time?
but he executed.
When's the next time you're going to go to Taste Asia? Taste Asia. I'm hearing myself in the headphones.
when I have enough money to actually eat a meal there and do some sake bombs.
Sake's overrated.
I agree.
Okay, I'm not high at sake bombs, so should I pass because they're
pass.
overrated?
Yeah, pass. Hard pass. All right, let's bring it back.